In this chapter, we journey through the epic Punic Wars, three battles that shaped history. The First Punic War forged Rome's navy and its first victory at sea. The second brought Hannibal's wrath and Rome's greatest test. And in the third, Carthage fell, forever sealing Rome's destiny. This is the entire history archive. The entire history of Rome. Chapter 2. Its next great trial came in the form of an enemy unlike any it had faced before. Rome's rise from a modest city-state in Italy to a Mediterranean superpower was neither easy nor inevitable. Carthage. Founded centuries earlier by Phoenician settlers, Carthage had grown into a maritime empire, rich from trade and master of the western seas. Where Rome's power was built on soldiers and alliances across Italy, Carthage commanded wealth, fleets, and colonies that stretched from North Africa to Spain and Sicily. The collision between these two young powers would decide the fate of the Western Mediterranean. History knows them as the Punic Wars. The First Punic War erupted in 264 BCE, fought primarily over the island of Sicily, a jewel of the Mediterranean coveted for its fertile land and strategic position. Rome had never before fought a major naval power. Its legions were unmatched on land, but at sea, Carthage reigned supreme. Yet Rome was nothing if not adaptive. In a matter of years, the Republic built a fleet from scratch, innovating with the corvus, a boarding bridge that turned sea battles into infantry combat, Rome's specialty. The war dragged on for more than 2 decades, a grueling contest of attrition, but Rome's persistence proved greater than Carthage's wealth. In 241 BCE, Carthage sued for peace, ceding Sicily. Rome had won its first overseas territory, and with it the beginning of empire. But Carthage was not finished. From Spain emerged a leader whose name would forever be remembered, Hannibal Barca. Brilliant, daring, and relentless, Hannibal swore eternal hatred for Rome. In 218 BCE, he launched one of the most audacious campaigns in history. Leading tens of thousands of troops, cavalry, and even war elephants, Hannibal marched from Spain, across Gaul, and over the towering Alps into Italy. The Romans were stunned. Never had an enemy marched so boldly onto their homeland. At Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and most devastatingly at Cannae, Hannibal shattered Roman armies. At Cannae alone, some 50,000 Romans fell in a single day, one of the bloodiest defeats in military history. For over a decade, Hannibal roamed Italy, undefeated in battle, his presence a constant threat to Rome's survival. And yet Rome endured. Unlike other states that might sue for peace after such devastation, the Republic refused to yield. The Senate raised new armies, year after year, drawing on the loyalty of its citizens and allies. While Hannibal was a genius on the battlefield, Carthage failed to send him the reinforcements he needed. Slowly, Rome shifted the war. Under the leadership of Publius Cornelius Scipio, later known as Scipio Africanus, Rome struck at Carthage's holdings in Spain, then carried the war to Africa itself. In 202 BCE, Scipio and Hannibal met at the Battle of Zama. This time it was Rome that triumphed. Hannibal was forced into exile, and Carthage was humbled, stripped of its empire, and reduced to a shadow of its former self. But Rome's hunger was insatiable. A third Punic War followed decades later, when Rome finally destroyed Carthage in 146 BCE. The city was burned, its people enslaved, and its memory cursed. On that same year, Roman legions also crushed the Greek city of Corinth, bringing much of Greece under Roman control. By the mid-2nd century BCE, Rome was the master of the Mediterranean. Spain, Greece, North Africa, and much of the eastern lands now answered to the Senate. Wealth poured into Rome, slaves, treasure, grain, and art. The Republic had conquered the world, but in doing so, it began to conquer itself. The flood of riches widened the gap between rich and poor. Powerful generals and senators amassed enormous estates worked by slaves, displacing small farmers who had once been the backbone of Rome. The plebeians, once partners in Rome's rise, now faced poverty and political marginalization. Meanwhile, the Senate grew arrogant, its members more interested in personal power than the common good. Voices for reform arose. The brothers Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus sought to redistribute land to the poor and restore balance. but their efforts met fierce resistance from the Senate. Both brothers were killed, martyrs to the cause of the people. Their deaths marked a turning point. Violence had entered Roman politics, and the Republic would never again be the same. The crisis deepened with foreign wars. Rome's legions triumphed abroad, defeating kingdoms in Asia Minor, Gaul, and beyond. But with victory came the rise of powerful generals whose loyalty lay not with the Senate, but with their soldiers. Men like Gaius Marius and Lucius Cornelius Sulla used their armies to seize power, turning Roman politics into a battleground of civil war. The old system of shared power was breaking down. Ambition was no longer restrained by law or custom. The Republic had grown too vast, its institutions too rigid, its inequalities too sharp. Rome had conquered the Mediterranean, but in doing so, it had unleashed forces that threatened to destroy the very republic that had achieved such greatness. By the 1st century BCE, the stage was set for some of the most famous figures in history to rise: Pompey the Great, Crassus the Rich, and Julius Caesar. Their alliances, rivalries, and betrayals would bring the Republic to its knees, paving the way for a new order, the Roman Empire.